All right, so on YouTube, we had a question from Ludlisi that says, "Hi, BackpackerGuide.NZ. I live in Australia and my mother is coming from overseas to visit me in a month's time. And she's going to do a stopover in Auckland and I am meeting her there so we can travel through both islands for 16 days. I couldn't find any videos about itineraries with elderly people. She's 68, not that old, but can't walk much. I am planning to do the Lord of the Rings visits, glowworms, some lakes, volcanoes, hot pools, and some cultural activities. But she speaks very little English as well. So I would like to know which itinerary and activities you recommend, considering with some walking limitation and a slower pace. Not very adventurous, but love nature. Beautiful views and different things to do. Thank you." All right, that's a lot of little things to take in consideration. But if we take our trusted map, we'll be able to do an itinerary for you. That should be quite nice. Let me just find that. We had some notes for you.
But the first thing to mention really is because of the age difference, and you do mention that your mother is quite old, especially what bus tours do for, like, you know, elderly people, bus tours in New Zealand, what they do is really visit just a few places within the time. So for instance, if they were to do a week in the North Island, they would only visit 3 different locations. But as you've asked, you want to do both islands in 16 days and you want to do quite a lot of stuff. So we'll do our best to sort of find a happy medium, and we'll sort of obviously recommend to spend a couple of days in one location rather than rushing around the whole country, because that can be quite tiring for your mother. But also this is obviously an opportunity of a lifetime for you as well, so you obviously want to do a lot of stuff as well. So we'll try and find a good balance between all that. Okay.
All right, so you're probably going to be landing in Auckland, so we're going to add Auckland to the map. Then we're going to add Waitomo to the map. Then we're going to add Rotorua to the map. And then we're going to add Taupo. And then we're going to add Wellington. Now arriving in the South Island, and again we're going to go through every single one of those points one by one. So don't panic. We'll do everything one by one. So you're going to have Picton, which is where you arrive. We're probably going to have the Abel Tasman National Park. Then we are going to be adding Franz Joseph. Then we're going to be adding Queenstown. Then Eden. And then we're going to add Mount Cook, and then Christchurch. There you go.
Okay.
All right, let's cover all of those bases right here. Cool. So as Laura mentioned, what we try to do right here is that despite the fact that you have 6 days, we only have 12 dots on the map. This gives you plenty of time for you to have extra days in some places, to be able to take it at a much slower and much more fun pace, just so you can actually just, you know, brace yourself as a traveling with your mum, because, you know, at 68 years old, you're not on the go, driving in the morning, doing activity in the afternoon, driving in the evening, you know, you're not going to be able to do that. So you're going to arrive in Auckland, which is an awesome city where there's plenty of things to do. You can visit a few places if you feel like it. Maybe treat your mum to some really awesome wine. You can take a boat that will take you to the island of Waiheke Island. On Waiheke Island, first you're going to have a cruise through the beautiful harbour of Auckland, which is really awesome. Then you're going to be able to see most of the Hauraki Gulf, a lot of islands and everything, which is again super awesome. And then on Waiheke Island, you'll have a great views of all the seas and the Hauraki Gulf and the other islands, as well as being able to taste some of the best wine that New Zealand has to offer, because Waiheke is the wine mecca of Auckland. So go on a bit of a wine tasting tour if you want to, or literally just pick one of the winery you want to go to, hop on the bus. It's probably going to be about 10-minute bus at most. Yeah. and just sit there, have some good food, some good wine, and when you're a little tipsy, take the bus back on the boat and then head back to your hotel. So that would be the one thing I would do. If you don't feel like getting on the boat, you can definitely check out the Sky Tower. You go up the Sky Tower, you get a beautiful views, and that's pretty much it. Then you hop on the car and you drive to Waitomo. Waitomo is the place where you can see the glowworms. There is many ways to see the glowworms, but I think there is only one way you will be able to do with a 68 years old that doesn't want to walk.
Yeah, so one of the definitely a good option to do when you're traveling with someone that's older is something called simply the Waitomo Glowworm Caves. This is a it does involve some walking, but it's very short. You're probably walking for about 10 minutes in total, and it's a guided tour through some beautiful underground limestone caves with a little boat trip at the end. You're just simply floating in this cave under an amazing display of glowworms. So it's really an easy activity to do. Alternatively, there are some slightly longer walking tours, but they again are pretty easy going. You're moving at a very slow pace. I'm thinking of the Ruakuri Cave.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, so Ruakuri Cave, again, it's another way of seeing the glowworms, but going super slowly with a tour guide. The trip is about, I think the whole tour is about 45 minutes, but you're barely doing that much walking, but it is seeing some of the most impressive caves and limestone formations in the whole of Waitomo, so that's definitely worth checking out as well.
Cool. Then from Waitomo, you're going to make your way toward Rotorua. Now this should be a full day drive because it's not a long drive, but that will give you the opportunity to stop at Hobbiton. It's in the little village of Matamata, and it was on your list. Everybody that comes to New Zealand wants to see Hobbiton, so go there, enjoy that. The tour is about an hour and 30 minutes, that. And so then you have the drive and you arrive in Rotorua. If you still feel up for some challenge when you arrive in Rotorua, you can hop on straight away for an evening tour of one of the Maori village. Maori village like Mitai or Tamaki offers evening tour where you visit the whole village, you see a Maori show, and you also taste some Maori food, which usually parents really love. This is a really awesome cultural activity. It's extremely unique throughout the entire world, so it's definitely worth seeing. You may want to take another day in Rotorua as well, visiting some of the beautiful geothermal park that there is. There is Waiotapu, there is Te Puia, there is the Waimangu Volcanic Valley, and they all showcase some very unique geothermal activities that are, that would be a shame to miss them when traveling around New Zealand. Yeah. Oh, there is also Orake Korako, which is actually one of our favorites. So we have videos on most of those on the channel, so feel free to check those one out. But once you finish your time in Rotorua, drive yourself to Taupo.
Okay, so just before reaching Taupo, one of the probably most popular attractions in the North Island is right there, and that's called Huka Falls. This is an amazing it's where a huge river sort of narrows really quickly to create this gorge, and there's some crazy sort of waterfall displays going through there, and that's really impressive.
It's a long hike though.
Yeah, it'll take you about 30 seconds to reach. There is a car park just right next to the attraction, and then you walk over a bridge. There's a few different viewpoints to get different views of the Huka Falls.
But literally the furthest one you can find is about 1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes.
So that one will definitely be an easy one to do. And then while you're in Taupo, which is on the edge of New Zealand's largest lake, there's a few boat trips that you can go on. So you can do some sailing tours and go see some Maori rock carvings, which are pretty cool. Some carvings.
Explain the Maori carving. It's very different. It's a massive carving. It's as the size of the boat.
Yeah, it's about, I think about maybe 10 foot or something, 8 or 10 foot carvings, which is, just really impressive to see. It's carved into a cliff on the edge, and you can get there, by sailing tours, or there's also like motorboat tours as well, but that's a nice relaxing way to enjoy Lake Taupo.
Yeah. And so it's also a good way to break up the drive because you have a really long drive.
Yeah.
So obviously around Taupo there is all the likes of the Tongariro crossing and all those kind of things. But since you mentioned that your mum doesn't walk that much, you don't necessarily want to take her on a 12 hike. But there is some still amazing views of volcano. Laura just wrote on my jingle there with a pen. Whoopsie. But then we're going to drive all the way down to Wellington.
I hope that washes it.
We'll see. That's okay. I'll say I have a 5-year-old kid now. All right. So in Wellington, there is some really awesome cultural things to do that would be awesome with your parents. So there is like the Te Papa Museum, which is New Zealand's national museum. There is a ton of exhibition, from the involvement of New Zealand in World War II to the awesome Maori culture, to the New Zealand in like the 70s, to the geology kind of New Zealand. There is even something called the colossal squid, which is a gigantic, massive squid that washed off the shore of New Zealand and has been conserved in some kind of concoction. It's a weird animal, but you can see a lot about all the fauna and flora of the country. It's really an epic museum. If you're into the Lord of the Rings, you also have the Weta Cave tour, which is where they do most of the special effects for the Lord of the Rings. It's really awesome to visit as well. But overall, Wellington is especially like just a nice city. It's the nicest capital of the world. That's what they say. It's a nice city to walk around, plenty of cafe, awesome food. It's like you called your mum elderly, which you're brave. I wouldn't call my mum elderly. But yeah, so it's the elderlies love it because it's just Wellington has an elderly's pace basically.
Yeah.
But it's also the place where you take the ferry down to Picton. The ferry is kind of an activity in itself. It's a beautiful cruise through the stunning Marlborough Sound, and then you arrive in Picton and you start exploring the South Island, which is epic. So in Picton, you can stay a little bit and do a couple of things.
Yeah, in Picton, it's really a good place to do a lot of water activities. More like boat trips would be more appropriate if you're traveling with someone a bit older. There's really amazing cruises taking you to sort of hidden inlets around the Marlborough Sounds and seeing lots of sort of remote places. There's a boat tour, 2 different boat tours called the Mail Boat Cruises. So that this is where tour companies actually deliver mail to really remote like areas within coves and stuff around the Marlborough Sounds, which is pretty cool. You can also go see some dolphins. There's like dolphin cruises as well. And yeah, in terms of the rest of the stuff, that's more active, so maybe we will not mention too much about the rest of the things.
Here you go. Then you can head to the Abel Tasman National Park. And the Abel Tasman National Park is absolutely stunning. It's those golden sand beaches with stunning turquoise water, with luxuriant rainforest everywhere. You can hop on any of the boat tour that's going to take you there, do a very short walk around and show you a few places. You can also go on a kayaking tour. The good thing is that usually when you go on an organized kayaking tour, there is other people, so they will pair you with the guide, so the guide does more of the
or you could go with your mum and you do all the paddling.
Who wants to do that? Hell no! But yeah, so it's 2 people kayak, so you can kind of work together and everything. It's not necessarily that long. You can make it as long and as short as you want. You get to see plenty of wildlife. It's a really stunning area, definitely worth visiting. Then you can hop on and drive alongside the stunning wide west coast of New Zealand. We will recommend you to do all that in one day, so that's going to be a long day drive, but there is a few pit stops along the way, like
Nelson Lake.
The Nelson Lakes with some, this is where you have the GT and the Placid Lake and the mountain at the back, and you can take that picture. So that's kind of a short pit stop. You also have Greymouth, where you can do, where you can actually try some really good food, and there is also some museum about the mining history of New Zealand.
There's a brewery tour.
There is a brewery tour, but not if you're driving. But bad suggestion, Laura.
Yeah. Sorry.
Then there is Punakaiki with the pancake rocks and some blowholes. Same thing. It's a very short, like maybe about 10-minute walk, where you can see stunning limestone formation and amazing blowholes, so definitely worth doing. And then you arrive in Franz Josef. In Franz Josef, this is where you can do some epic stuff on glaciers.
Well, if your mum's feeling up to it, of course.
Oh, it's not that hard of a hike. The helicopter does most of the work.
Yeah, that's true. So there is a thing in Franz Josef called heli hiking, where basically you're taken by helicopter onto a glacier and you're kitted up with crampons, which are sort of those little like knife things you put on the bottom of your hiking shoes, and yeah, you just go for a very short stroll on top of a glacier, which is a pretty awesome experience, and you learn more about these magnificent rivers of ice that are making their way through the valleys. It's a stunning area to see, but if you don't think that is appropriate to do with your mother, alternatively, you can just do helicopter tours. So you can do scenic helicopter flights over the Franz Josef Glacier, and you can also actually get a glimpse of New Zealand's highest mountain, which is Mount Cook as well. And it's really an awesome way to just see some of the most stunning, like, grand scenery of New Zealand that you've probably all been thinking and imagining of. So that's a really good way to get some views. And sometimes they do sort of quick helicopter landings on the top of a glacier, so you just basically get out, go run around and get back in again. There's not really, it's just a fun thing to do for like 2 seconds, but that's an alternative way to see the glacier glacier without actually having to overexert yourself or anything.
Exactly,
like that.
yeah. You also have glacier hot pools, and you also have a really nice wildlife park where we will also see some kiwi birds. So you have some alternative if heli hiking is not your thing. Then you keep on driving and you do a really awesome drive around and you make your way to Queenstown. So Queenstown is kind of the equivalent of Wellington, but on the southern end. It's kind of a city where you're going to get plenty of really awesome food. There is plenty of things to do, super adventurous, super non-adventurous. One of the things we like the most is to take a bus tour to go all the way down to Milford Sound, because it's an amazing place to visit, and also you don't necessarily have to drive yourself, so it's much better to take the bus tour, enjoy the view, go do the cruise down there, and then come back. It's a whole day too. It's really fun. Otherwise, just go up the gondola and have some beautiful views, some nice food, check out Lake Wakatipu. There's really a lot of awesome stuff to do in Queenstown.
Yeah.
Then we think you should drive down to Dunedin, because there is amazing wildlife, and you mentioned your mum really loves wildlife, and the good thing with Dunedin is that the wildlife is extremely easy to access, so you get to see them super up close without to exercise a bit.
Yeah, so in Dunedin there's a place called the Otago Peninsula, which there's loads of different wildlife tours taking you there. And probably the easiest thing to do with your mum though is to go to the Royal Albatross Centre. There's a short tour there which takes you to see some of the nesting Royal Albatross, which, if you don't know, they are the largest type of seabirds in the world. They're really impressive to see close up. And in terms of walking, it's really just a short stroll to see a couple of different areas around the Royal Albatross Centre, and it's really informative as well. But I know you said that your mum can't understand English very well, but I'm sure she will definitely appreciate seeing this amazing wildlife there.
And you can translate for her. What about that?
Yeah, and also they do little blue penguin tours as well. So on an evening when the sun's going down, they have some platforms to stand on, and when you're stood on these platforms, you can watch these, what they call rafts of little blue penguins coming into shore and making them...
Dropping that knowledge right here.
Yeah. Bit of a knowledge drop for y'all. And then, yeah, when they come in on land and waddle their way to their nests, and it's always a really cute sight to see. So I think that's probably the best thing to do with your mum.
Cool. And then you make your way toward Mount Cook. So alongside the way, you can check out some awesome places like Twizel, Lake Tekapo, all those kind of awesome things. Lake Pukaiki, which is a beautiful blue lake.
I just wanted to make a more accurate road.
Fantastic.
You do have to sort of turn off the main highway to go to Mount Cook.
So there's a few things to see around, but some of the good thing about Mount Cook is that if you did miss on the glacier hike, you can do a glacier hike right here on the Tasman Glacier, which is the tallest glacier of the country. But you can also hop in a plane and do a scenic flight around the Southern Alps, which is absolutely mind-blowing, around Mount Cook, which is the New Zealand's tallest mountain. It's actually one of the cheapest flights you can do as well, which is really amazing. And you also have some awesome stargazing tours, because this area right here is a dark sky reserve, meaning that there is very limited light pollution, meaning that the night skies are fantastic. So you can either do an organized night tour or just look up in the sky, in the stars yourself, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then you make your way down to Christchurch, because we think that because you're traveling with your mum, you should limit the amount of traveling you're doing around and the tedious part. And so you finish in Christchurch, and then boom, you fly yourself to Auckland. The flight from Christchurch to Auckland will be about $49 if you book them really early, or about $120 if you book them a little bit later. But it's still going to save you the amount, like you will spend more than that in gas just going back up. Yeah. So definitely do that, that'd be much easier. If you do have some spare time in Christchurch, you get some stunning gardens. It's called the Garden City for a reason. You get some amazing gardens to visit. That's perfect for you, mum, which is going to be absolutely exhausted right now, and she's just in a cup of tea in front of a bunch of really nice flowers. So this is basically how we will finish traveling with your mum around New Zealand for 16 days. So here you are. Your name is Luxi. I'm sorry, I destroyed your name, but yeah, I hope that this is gonna help you. Let us know in the comment if you do find this itinerary useful. If you guys have any follow-up questions, ask us. There is some links for you guys in the description of these videos for you to click on, and make sure to like and subscribe, because we are awesome and that's helping us out a lot. Thank you.